Hello and welcome to this episode of Point Counterpoint. We are here to discuss and deliberate, as always, issues that affect the hearts, the minds and sensitivities of the people of Goa. Tomorrow is going to be a red letter day across the country. India will be celebrating its Independence Day. And we will, of course, be talking of stories of freedom and independence and fights and so on and so forth. But in the entire coastal belt of North Goa, there is a different fight for freedom taking place. The freedom from noise pollution, the freedom from excessive techno parties associated and linked, as so many crusaders have said, to the menace of drugs. Freedom from the very apparent nexus between different wings of authorities that are supposed to actually protect and control such menaces. The Goa Pollution Control Board, the police and so on and so forth, and the civic administration, who appear to be acting in a manner which is not only against the people but in absolute and direct defiance of the Honorable High Court's specific orders. And I think to discuss all this, we are privileged to have an extremely knowledgeable panel with very good stakeholders, crusaders in their own rights, and actually selfless people. All they want is a better environment and a more peaceful Goa for themselves, the rest of their families, and for the future of their children. There are no selfish motives here. But the point here is that they are up against a system that is hell-bent on trying to knock them down at the cost of so many of these mind-blowing parties that defy absolute logic. And if tourism is the ultimate aim, one needs to examine if these kind of techno parties defying all laws and regulations, absolutely illegal, is the way to bring in tourists. And before I launch this debate completely, I'll just leave you with one thought, that when Goan musicians have to wind up at 10 o'clock at weddings and parties and curtail their income, curtail their talent, as it were, they are the ones who need to abide by every law. They are stopped physically. Goan parties are stopped at 10 o'clock. But nobody stops these foreign DJs who come and play the whole night. Whether they have work permits or not, whether they are allowed to party or not, or whether they are allowed to play or not, is a big question. So obviously, are we in a system where the red carpet is laid out for illegal people to come and earn as much as they want, while our own Goans suffer, while simply trying to adhere to the laws and regulations that have been laid down? I welcome our four panelists, and we are going to be joined by one more. On my left is Jenny Crasto, who is a resident of Agator. She's been a litigant, crusader, and somebody who has fought hard and fought long for the protection of the environment. She and other women have also done a lot to fight against noise pollution. Next is Trajan De Mello, political analyst, again another crusader who's fought against these kind of illegalities with regard to sound. Next to Trajan is Mayur Shetgaonkar, who's been a petitioner in many cases there. Again, another person who's fighting against different illegalities there. Next to him is, of course, Cirilo D'Souza, again resident of ANJUNA, one of the most veteran crusaders who's been fighting against noise pollution. And a very warm welcome to Buswe Silva, retired SP, a friend and somebody who has also honestly tried to work in a system where sometimes it is very tough to see that illegalities are curtailed to a large extent. I will start with you, Jenny, because at the end of the day, if I may take your permission, that you have also fought not only because of the rest of Goa, but you yourself are also fighting for for children, including your own son, who's completely kind of harassed and tortured. So while we look at what's happening now, if you can just talk about your experience and the kind of fight that you've carried on.
Yeah. It's been really terrible with all these noise pollution happening, because my house is situated in such a place where I can even hear W Hotel, which is quite far away. So if they are playing loud music, it affects me. And we don't get sleep at night. My son is suffering from seizures and autism. So when he gets these seizure attacks, he needs to sleep nicely. But with these bang bang, and there is 3 clubs just behind my house, which is not more than a kilometer away. So all these things don't really help him. We are unable to reach to school in time.
Right.
Okay, then at the same time, I am trying to work with him with autism, and with this, with him not being able to concentrate, because this new music is going on every now and then, and the music is really bad. It's not suitable for normal people. So yes, it's not helping him to, learn more. And even his doctors also recommended, saying that this kind of a environment is not good for him.
Apparently, in one of your letters that you had given, you mentioned many club, including one Papi Chulo hostel, where you apparently said that there are, even at 4 a.m. there's 79 decibels. That is correct. This was one of your early letters that you had.
Early letters, correct. It was the recording was taken by Jovita, who lives there.
Right.
And sadly, there were at least 3 people that have died in that family due to lack of rest. So they were suffering from their own illness, but they had to take rest. It's like when we fall sick, we just need to take crocine and take rest. This is what they wanted, which was deprived from them, and so their life was cut short. And it was really touching to see them pass away like this. So it is true.
Mr. Silva, I'll bring you in, though you just joined us. Very welcome. See, the thing is, right now there seems to be, there are 2 issues here. The police seems to be saying that, look, until and unless we get complaints, we cannot act. But if you look at that whole universe of Anjuna and Vagator, I call it the Republic of Anjuna and Vagator, because it seems to have a law unto its own self. But if you look at that piece of Goa there, do you really think that the police actually needs a complaint when it's right there in front of what's happening? Number 1. Number 2, the Pollution Control Board says that, look, we don't give the permissions. Ultimately, the collector gives the permissions, and the police needs to do it. But this is not a one year story, 2 year story. It's almost like a 15-year story. So are the police handicapped? Are they under political pressure? Why can't they go down and shut these illegal clubs?
About being handicapped, I wouldn't know. I've been sub-divisional police officer in Mapsa way back 12 years ago.
Right.
At that point of time, this situation wasn't there. We used to have regular checks in the postal belt. Persons from the Pollution Control Board used to come. The device P used to make a letter. And nightly, especially on weekends, used to have these checks. Wherever they were found violating, because all these police stations have been given those meters, decibel meters, the coastal police stations. And we used to book cases, seize the equipment. Now this is a decade ago. Right. I was promoted in around 2016 and I was at headquarters. From there I went to the vigilance. Subsequently all this died down. Now whether it is political pressure or anything else, I couldn't say. I can't comment on that. When I was at headquarters as SP legal for the police department, these complaints used to come. The then Director General of Police used to mark it to us. We used to mark it to the district SPs, in turn to the device Ps.
Right.
Reports used to come from the police station that they have gone.
Nothing found.
Nothing found. We had to rely on those reports. I have filed affidavits before the High Court in matters based on these reports. So apart from that, I was not in the field, so I cannot comment on that.
Right.
But this was a regular feature. There was one gentleman in Asagaon, Desmond Alvarez. He is part of that writ petition also.
Right.
He used to send a barrage of emails. And then they used to say that he is an extortion agent, this, that.
Yeah,
that.
we've heard all that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So apart from that, we used to base ourselves on because it was for the district SPs to cross-verify or the device piece.
Right. Cyril, you have kind of been a part of this for a very long time. You have protested. You took clubs into.
Yes.
What is your ground level assessment of what used to happen then and what happens now?
Well, in 2012-13, I, together with around 20 families who were affected with this noise pollution,
Right.
got together and we filed a PIL in the High Court. This was regarding the noise pollution. And during this time, we really fought for almost 2 years, but we always came to a dead end.
Why?
Because it was the police, it was like the police fighting against us. It is the police who had submitted their report saying that they were visiting the different nightclubs and there was nothing going on. But they did in 2-3 cases, wherein Shiva Valley was one of them, UV Bar was one of them. That time we were very active and we got them arrested. We got the nightclub shut down. These were 2 clubs that were shut down during that time of agitation.
Right.
But then compared to that time, it was a lone battle that I was fighting with a few friends of mine, because noise pollution at that time was something new. But from then to now, it's a big difference.
Correct. From West time and now, just the sheer scale is completely
It's
different.
different because we've got
UV Bar went indoors after that.
Right.
That was namesake indoors, but they went indoors.
Correct.
But then now the difference is it's the outsiders, the Delhi people, the Bombay people who have come in and joined hands with the locals and using the influence of maybe Delhi or the central government, and they're just bulldozing their way through.
You know, I'll tell you the current reality. One of the reasons why we are here today, I mean, it's always good to meet, but one of the reasons why this was so critical was, now from the 13th has already happened, from yesterday, and it's going on now, over 23 trans parties have been advertised. Now it is all over social media. They don't advertise on the traditional media. And all of them have, they have multiple DJs. All of them have DJs with weird sounding names. XC, YXC, all that. Now all these DJs from different parts of the world with different nationalities, pen names, pet names, I don't know what they are, but they're all there. Now the point is, all these parties have been advertised. We've got flyers of all these parties. Now against a High Court mandate that you cannot play loud music over after 10 o'clock, especially if it is outdoors, these parties are advertising saying we are starting at midnight. One party says we are starting at 4 AM. Okay, I will just read from one of the party posters just to show the extent of this whole menace. Now you see, there is a party called Sunrise Cardio Edition 3. Very proudly says it starts at 4 AM. Okay, during the independence thing, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th August. And it has about 23 to 24 DJs. Aditi, Akshi, Arpin, Beat Inspector, Jakati, Dramanto, June, Leon, Nigel, Posh, Rudra, Swami, whatever. I mean, these are all, they obviously not their real names. But I'm sure, and all of them are foreign, I'm sure the FRRO will not have a single name registered under that. Whether they are coming on tourist visas, whether they have a work permit to do this, are they paying any licenses for this? Are they paying an entertainment tax? You have a Goan trying to do a party, he'll have to pay an entertainment tax. Okay,
that's correct.
So my question here is that how is this happening? Okay, I'll get you in, Mayur. Why don't you respond to this?
Yeah, actually there are basically 2 parts, illegalities of this.
Yes.
So one is the structure that is standing in the coastal area is 90% is illegal. And the second thing is that the illegal activities that is being carried out in these structures. So these noise pollutions, finally the permissions have been given by the Goa State Pollution Board. Now the Goa State Pollution Board is not monitoring whether the noise pollution is happening in that particular area.
Right.
Like in our area, that is in Mojim, it is around more than 40 lakh square meter of area.
Right.
And they have placed a single noise monitoring station to monitor this entire area.
Right.
And they have placed this to the location whereby the hotel is already shut down.
I see.
Again, if we go to the Anjuna side, they have placed the monitoring station to the police station.
Right.
So these monitoring stations are placed away from where actually the noise is being carried out. So basically this government is also playing, they know the loopholes. So they are placing these monitoring stations away in spite of having the court orders. They are placing it away so that there is no evidence.
Okay.
Secondly, the police, the system, even the system is involved into this. Likewise, if any complaint goes to the police station, they get the information before the police arrive at the location. We cannot blame, because once they reach the location, there is no noise is being carried out. And this, whatever the DJs are that they are coming in Goa, they don't have any knowledge about this, whatever the regulations is there in Goa. So once the police reach and they get the report saying that there is no noise pollution is being carried out, just after the 20 minutes, the same restaurant or the club, they carry out with the noise pollutions, with the parties. So there is no point in complaining before the police stations or whatever the emergency calls number.
Right. No, okay. Yeah, just make your point. I have just one more point to add, but just make a point. Yeah. Okay.
So if we, I got the report from the police stations that I have made around 26 numbers of the calls to the police, and whereby they have reported only one single report that there was a noise. So there are 20% of the police who are not managed. So by mistakenly or by God forbid, they are giving a report that there is a noise pollution. And before this, the Goa State Pollution Board right now has passed a notification that Goa State Pollution Board is not involved or won't get involved into the noise pollution or noise monitoring.
Correct.
It is transferred to the deputy collector and the police station. Now the deputy collector is saying they don't have any equipment to measure. It's the Goa State Pollution Board who is monitoring. Ultimately, the permission, the consent is given by the Goa State Pollution Board.
Correct.
And how the deputy collector can be the acting party? It's the Goa State Pollution Board has to intervene. Right now, the ball passing game is going on.
Mr. Silva, just a quick intervention from your side. Ultimately, is the police responsible for stopping loud music, or is it the Pollution Control Board? Where does the buck stop?
I think it is the deputy collector who issues the sound permissions.
Correct.
Based on a report from the Pollution Control Board.
Right.
The report is also sought.
Right.
Police will say that if at all you give a permission, it is up to 10 o'clock.
Right.
Then technically they shut.
Right.
It is the deputy collectors who are responsible. In fact, they have been made in charges of all that. Teams which are supposed to go are under them.
But when the police realizes that a party which is supposed to end at 10 o'clock is actually starting at 10 o'clock, aren't they equipped to just go there and stop it?
Now there, the police who are there will not know, cannot monitor each and every restaurant. Basically, I am from the south.
Correct.
South, we don't have this.
No, south you don't have the problem. But the point here is what is actually in reality what is happening in the north, since we are active there and what is actually happening is there are people who, activists and others, or people who are sufferers, they dial 112. Okay. Now when they dial 112, instead of they getting any response, the standard response, please correct me if I am wrong, is to say call up the police station. And when they call up the police station says yes, we are coming.
112 will redirect.
Yes.
Either to the fire and emergency services or the police.
Correct.
Or the health.
That's right.
You will get a response.
Yes. But
And
when the redirection
I have
happens,
noticed it several times.
Yes.
Even I've retired for 3 months.
Right.
I have made calls to 112. It goes directly here. It's passing the buck.
Yes.
So technically, it will be for those who are operating 112 to answer that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Just one sec. Yeah, you can intervene anytime. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make a point, but please make your point first.
Okay.
And I'll
So there is a notification where we have for the coastal region.
Yes.
There is a court order for the turtle nesting sites.
Right.
You cannot play a sound beyond 55 dB, which is a normal communication between two people.
correct.
So still there are some noise pollutions, or the restaurant carrying out some noise pollution in this turtle nesting area.
Right.
How these permissions have been given? Even if we are complaining, the deputy collector, there are the case pending before the deputy collector also.
Right.
Police are coming on the spots. They are they came to know that the sound pollution is going on. They are just reporting to the on-site and they are stopping the music at that instant.
Correct.
So there should be an acting party wherein the no sound pollutions mean the turtle nesting, so you cannot carry any sound.
Correct. The role of the
The
police.
time, the role of the police
Yes.
and the timings and all.
Yes.
But all this, I mean, at that point of time when you go, when the police visit the spot, it is that I think that they inform the party that the raiding party is coming down, and then everything is at a standstill.
Information goes out.
Information goes out.
Okay. Yeah, this is happening practically in Canada. Rajan, before I bring you in, I just like to quote from High Court observations for the benefit of our viewers with regard to the role of the Pollution Control Board. In fact, I'd also like to put on record that we had invited the Pollution Control Board to take part in this debate. They steadfastly refused. When they knew what the topic was, they officially, the chairperson of the Pollution Control Board and the director have actually refused to be a part of this debate, and I want to make this very clear and on record. Let this be on record on this. Anyway, now Justice Karnik and Valmiki Fernandez of the Bombay High Court in one of the petitions made 4 or 5 very important observations, and these observations and these directions have been flouted with impunity. Okay, they have said the real-time noise monitoring system should be in place in Goa to eradicate the blatant and obvious violations of all directions issued to establishments and institutions to curb the deafening sound pollution emanating from the blaring music across North Goa. Court's words. The bench further directed, saying that places that have no necessary permissions to operate should be revoked. Let us start by tabulating. Court's words. This is Justice Valmiki Menez's own words. Let us start by tabulating how many establishments in ANJUNA have license to operate. Let us go place by place, and once we have the data, we'll be in a better position. Then, it has been detailed, again, this is Justice Valmiki Menezes again. It has been detailed in previous orders that real-time monitoring systems must be mandatorily installed, and see that the equipment is operational in all places. Nothing has happened.
Nothing is.
As per notification of the GSPCB, the applicant in that case is directed to install online noise level monitoring system and display a board along the periphery of the compound. Not done. So these are things. Then, once the sound is monitored on a real-time basis, there will be no chance of escaping the law. Justice Valmiki Menezes again. Then, one more. I am really surprised. This is Justice Menezes again. There has to be real-time noise monitoring pollution monitoring systems in place. He is again and again and again and again and again saying this. And there are many such orders, many such observations. So, Rajan, my issue here is that it is the court which is expressing absolute frustration, anger, and even in the latest order, they have actually said that real-time monitoring mechanisms are not in place and they have to be in place. Now, my point is, how does a system violate High Court orders with such impunity, and at the same time the Pollution Control Board says we are not responsible?
Now, when whatever you have read
Yes.
is making one thing clear, that because he is not talking of the present order, he is talking of the subsequent earlier orders.
Yes.
Were almost the same.
Right.
And nothing has happened.
Right.
What is the meaning of it? The meaning of it that the court's orders have no sanctity
Right.
to the law enforcing agencies.
Right.
As you are just asking, a person who is doing business has to pay tax. Here there is a tax, the sideway tax it is. If the law enforcing agencies get their tax, this whole thing is managed. And when we are concentrating so much on the sound, what is behind this sound is a drug cartel. It is a drug cartel. If normal person cannot be going there and sitting down and hearing that music.
Correct.
Unless you are in the heaven which you believe, which is exactly hell. But at that point of time, they believe it is heaven. Now, when the drug cartel is so powerful in Goa,
Right.
it has entrenched itself so much. I am talking this from facts. From 2014, I have filed PIL against the EDM, where you have the law enforcing agencies granting permission without their dues being paid. Now, what is the explanation of this? I cannot understand. I am owning a bar. My license expired. I am broke. I want a license without able to pay the fees. Will they give me the license? I'm a Goan. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
Right.
I'll give you a guarantee. I'll give you a security.
Right.
No, you bring the money, take the license and go home. But whereas here, and I went 4 times to the court,
Right.
where 7 crores was recovered. But my point is this: you are granting a license knowing that the dues are there. How do you allow this? What is the meaning of it? That means right from the top to the bottom, everybody is handled, and this can happen. See, sound is just a part of the whole thing. What is attracting the sound is the drug.
So again, so that I mean, I'll put this in the whole context. See, the quote. I'll quote again. This is from the PIL judgment on the PIL of Rajesh Sinari versus State of Goa. And one
This is regarding the sound pollution.
This is again sound pollution.
Yes.
March 3, 2023. Rajesh
Yes.
Sinari versus State of Goa. High Court says the blame game between the GSPCB and the ANJUNA PI is shameful. Number one. It goes on to say the GSPCB and the police have often failed to prevent breaches in the prevention of the sound pollution rules and indulged in blaming each other. Lack of preventive action against the loud parties in Anjuna and Vagator has emboldened the organizers to openly advertising playing music beyond permissible time limits. Some parties are, and so on and so forth, it goes on. Now, that time the SP Nidhin Walson, who was there, he says, police will take action as and when we are informed. Doesn't this seem very...
Now, what he is trying to say is, if a person is murdered,
Yeah.
he is not going to take action until somebody comes and complains that he is murdered. We have reached that stage now.
Right, right.
This is what he is, if that is his say, this is what he is saying in heart. And therefore, the police have totally collapsed. But I am not blaming the police, please understand. I am saying all the departments that are responsible, because it has to be cohesively worked.
Right.
It is not one person that can work.
Right.
One department, you see. Deputy collector, if they do not work, but if they have got their taxes, then why they should work? Then they are working for them.
Mr. Silva, often what happens is that I will not call them lower level, but I would say in the hierarchy at the police station level, the PI levels and others, they are working in that area. Now we understand there would be local pulls and pressures. There'll be corruption to a certain extent. There'll be pulls and pressures and so on and so forth. But often the feedback that we are getting from the lower level constabulary, and you may throw some light on this matter if you are aware. What they are essentially saying is, sir, what can we do? My point is that we are continuously getting instructions from people who are far higher up in the order, not even SPs, higher and higher and higher and higher. And the point is, when these kind of directions come, then what do we do? We are recently aware that in the Anjuna Asako demolition case, the letter written by the PI to the Chief Secretary was absolutely telling. Now, if you put that in the context of what has been actually happening, and the court is blaming the PI, the court is blaming the Goa Pollution Control Board, but apparently, I mean, don't you feel that this cannot happen unless the system at the very top is aware of what is happening at the ground?
In this, I will say one thing. I cannot comment on that, but courts have on and on made references to earlier orders.
Right.
Now, if the court also was sincere, what they could have done is initiated suo moto contempt proceedings.
Contempt proceedings have been initiated also.
Now, in other matters, they initiate
Correct.
very fast.
But contempt petition is going on. In this matter, they have.
Reports are very slow. Had they initiated directly against the officials
Unless the
concerned,
judicial system,
Right.
if
moved
they
on
were
fast-track
also
basis,
very sincere,
nothing will stop.
instead of just making a reference, now Justice Valmiki Menezes has made certain references.
Yes.
All they had to do was initiate suo moto proceedings, contempt proceedings. Everything would have fallen into place.
But a contempt petition is going on right now.
Yeah,
And
but then
observations have been made.
must see who are the parties. The parties should include even the police inspectors, deputy collectors, revenue officials, everyone.
The GSPCB has also been made a party.
GSPCB.
Yes.
What about the others?
All have been made parties. Now.
All
have
made
been
parties.
Yeah, they are all parties.
Then, if they are really serious on that, then there will be a result.
Right.
Because ultimately, in contempt petitions, they land in jail also.
Cyril, your point of view on this. The issue is that this blame game between the Pollution Control Board and the police is going on. And I'll just flag one more thing. See, the thing is, there's been a recent notification, which is a slight amended version of the Goa noise pollution rules. Under Annexure 2, there's a very detailed list of duties of each authority under the government. Deputy Collector, PI, and the Pollution Control Board is listed as an authority. And their duty very clearly listed in a gazette notification issued by the government of Goa in March 2024. Very clearly it talks about the Goa Pollution Control Board as an authority to give consent, monitor sound, and so on and so forth. So Goa Pollution Control Board under no circumstances can wash their hands away from it and behave as if they are some beauty queen sitting on the on some pedestal, and they will intervene only when somebody comes and talks. That cannot happen.
That cannot happen. It's definitely a blame game.
Yes.
Nobody wants to take the responsibilities.
Right.
It's like who want to bail the cat. Nobody wants to do it. But as Mr. Tajan said, they've all been paid taxes. I feel it's the same way and everybody knows it.
Right.
It's because everybody earns out of it, everybody is quiet. So we don't want to take the responsibilities. Let somebody take the responsibility. That's everybody's pushing it.
Kiri, I'll come to you now. Just if you can just further elaborate how you started off this whole discussion on the ground level situation. See, what has happened is we had this debate before. Now there are children who have to study. We know there are people who are working for companies abroad, where their entire, though they are in Goa, they are working for companies in America or Dubai or wherever, and their entire business is on calls, on video calls and other calls. So that gets completely disturbed. So if you could just tell us about the number of complaints that you all have actually made and what has been the response thereof. And if you could also throw a little bit of light on there's something called the Noise Monitoring Committee of every area, and the role that the Noise Monitoring Committee has been played, whether they can do a better role and how have they also performed in this.
Yeah, well, yes, with your first question of how we actually started, and yeah, we all are getting affected.
Yeah.
Like right from children studying. I was in school, when this started earlier, somewhere in the 90s, and it was very hard for me to concentrate. I literally had to plug my ears and try to concentrate. Nowadays it's so loud and so continuous that children aren't able to sleep. Parents aren't able to get up in the morning. There are some who have to travel from one place to another. I remember once when I was sitting at the back on the scooter, I was dozing because no sleep at night. This can trigger another accident. Okay, then we have senior citizens who are sick, who are ill. They are having heart problem. I know one family that literally puts her mother-in-law into her sister-in-law's house when there is parties, because everything is vibrating and she feels her heart is going to burst from inside. So they have to take all these initiatives. At one point, I had to take my son out of my house because there was these so-called restaurants are clubs, and they also take in parties as in for weddings. So they had the barat going and they were banging the tablas so loud that I literally had to take him out, and I went to the park which is next to the church, and I made a call to 112. From morning I'm calling them. It's morning at 12:30, and I've even filed complaints saying that noise pollution shouldn't exist AM or PM, because we have our daily life. We are having a normal life, the rest of the day. We are not tourist. And I had to take him. No response from them. Then I had to call the ANJUNA police station, who was like, ma'am, what is happening? I'm like, can you hear the noise from my phone? And he's like, yes, I can hear. I said, can you stop it? He said, ma'am, it will stop in like 30 minutes. I'm like, what do you think? We are not here to listen to all this.
This is at what time?
This is at 4:30 in the evening.
Okay.
So there is no time limit at all. Now, if you're in an establishment and you need to run a restaurant, you need to have proper license. So we've even asked the Gram Sabha to revoke all these licenses, but nothing has been done about it. They've even taken the, they've sent even notices.
So tell me, how does the, I'm coming to this, one more point, you can answer the same. My point is, how does the panchayat tolerate this? Doesn't it come up in the Gram Sabha? How does the sarpanch allow this? How does the panchayat allow this? Because I am told that most of the panches and the sarpanches have their own establishments.
You're right.
And they have their own systems.
You're
going.
right.
So you can never stop it. Now everybody, from the panch to the sarpanch to the MLA to everybody seems to be having a business.
Everybody
Yeah,
wants
business.
it.
Yeah.
You're right, and that is totally wrong. That is totally wrong on their part.
Yes.
But what I'm trying to say is, you have your own consent. I mean, your own establishment,
Right.
and it's not even legal. So because you want to protect yours, which is not which is illegal, you will protect everybody else. And who are the sufferers? The people, the residents.
Yeah, Rajan, please come.
See,
Yes.
we are trying to solve the problem without getting to the root cause of it. If the flow of drugs in these parties are choked, nobody wants to hear sound and nobody going to play loud sound music. It is the drugs that has to be choked. Without the drugs, this sound, nobody wants it.
No, because
Please
I
understand.
believe that this kind of music lends itself or is dependent completely on
drugs.
the
On
consumption of drugs.
And therefore, it should be choked.
And also, if you,
Therefore, I got an order from the High Court
Right.
saying that 500 meters radius from that area should be sensitized for drugs. But what is the logic? You can buy the drug beyond the 500 meters and go there.
And then
But whatever it is, I had to find something. But the system is the drugs. You choke the drugs, no sensible person will able to sit down and hear that sound music, loud music. And just in a lighter note,
please, please.
There
I
was
would
a
like to
place
remind
in
Buse
Sangolda.
that he is already retired. He is a little worried to comment. He should come out
There
more
was a
openly.
place in Sangolda called
he's
Club-
asking you to come out more openly.
yeah, Club West End.
Yes.
West End,
Yeah, at
Yes.
that point of time, I
Saligao,
was
Sangolda.
Yes,
SDPO
yes, correct.
in Purvari.
Yes.
We went after it. The person running was one chap called Sajid Ali. His son was into drugs. We cracked down, and that place is shut.
Shut. Yes, I remember.
If there was
aware of this,
effort
yes, yes.
on
Choke
the part
the
of
drugs
other
is
officers,
the point.
same thing. They
Nobody
would
wants to
have.
hear the sound.
And Club West End used to run throughout,
right.
24 hours.
24 hours.
Correct.
Music.
Correct.
It's shut, and that's the end of it. Those people in Sangolda are at peace.
Correct.
But for that, you need a combined effort, not only from the police, but from all around also.
Cyril, your take on this whole issue of drug, because this is not a new phenomenon. New clubs are coming in, but it used to happen earlier also. In the clubs that you shut down because of your crusade, the same thing used to happen. So just a few thoughts to this.
I think a year, 2 years back, after the Hyderabad police came down to Goa,
They cracked down heavily.
they cracked down very heavily on that, and that was exposure of drugs going on in Goa, of which nobody was much aware of because it was not exposed. But I think if, as Trajan says, if drugs are choked, these are the root cause of all parties going on today.
I don't want the sound here.
You cannot run a party, a techno party, a trance party without drugs. I'm a hotelier, in fact, and with my experience of the guests that I have come across, they all point out, they say, can't you all do something to stop all this noise? There are so many good tourists who want to visit Goa.
Sure.
If this crowd stops, definitely you will get good crowd in. But we hope for the best because the system doesn't look like it's going to.
Maybe I'll
cave in.
just read out from one advertisement of one of these techno parties. This is way back in 2014, but things have not changed. But I just found a very interesting, take on one advertisement, which actually sums up in reality what is happening. Now, this party says, this party advertisement goes like this: get ready to see the things that are unseen, because things that are seen are temporary. Things that are unseen are permanent. Okay.
It's a Bible quote.
Yeah, exactly. So this is in a trans party quote. Okay. And it actually says a tribute to all those beautiful people who have been and are part of this mind expansion era. Let the legacy continue. And that legacy is continuing.
Right. It is.
Okay. So now this is 2014. 2014 to decade has passed.
Passed.
The legacy is indeed continuing. Okay. Now the point that I'm asking you here is that, see, on one side you need to monitor crime and so on and so forth. On the other side, it is very clear that this drug business is coming. then you have this whole nexus between different arms of the establishment and the party goers. The point here is, how does one stop it? If the High Court has not managed to stop it, can this happen only when the people ultimately make this into a massive election issue and come out onto the streets and says that, look, if this is not stopped, we will stop giving votes? Is this too idealistic? Is it something very, is it a dream that we are talking about? Or can this change come out only when politicians know that they will actually get negative votes if they don't stop this?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Regarding the politics, ultimately it has to be solved by the politics only. People are running away from whatever the politics are there. So finally the politics is the only thing that is involved and who is polluting this environment.
Yes.
So basically, if we go again back to the panchayat, the panchayat knows that the noise pollution is going on because the punch member is staying nearby those outlets only.
That's right, correct.
So they, it is their responsibility, and they are running from their responsibility that they are not complaining to the authority. In Mojim area, that the people have complained before the panchayat on very several stages, and because of the pressure, the panchayat went to the police station. They have done only a single complaint. Beyond that, there was no more complaints or any follow-ups done. So the now the noise monitoring stations, we are talking about that the court has directed that a noise monitoring station should be installed.
Right.
But if we see into the last year Sunburn's case, there was calibrations into the instruments also. We can play with the instruments. So any instruments can be played, any instruments can be calibrated. So finally installing the noise monitoring station is not a solution.
Correct.
We can manipulate with the monitoring stations.
No, the court has even gone as far as to say that it is not enough to have a monitoring station somewhere in the area. You need to have equipment to monitor sound inside the party venue itself.
Every venue.
It cannot be. So if it's happening somewhere, if it's happening in one place, you need to have a monitoring system in that particular place.
At the venue.
Yeah, exactly. Right now the GSPs have placed, it is far away from the locations.
Right.
And in the Sunburn, last year Sunburn, there was a play with the noise monitoring stations. That few of the this thing, people have monitored that the noise level that was being carried out was not recorded into the instruments.
Right.
So basically what I feel is that the patrolling, the point where they get the call from the villagers or any of the locals, there should be a 24/7 patrolling.
Right. Okay.
We are trying to look for a system where the entire law enforcing agency is totally consciously dead. You are trying to do something which they don't want to do.
The police just cannot come to the locations and just survey.
Correct. Yeah, Cyril, I want to flag one more very interesting point.
Yeah.
See, there's this whole interplay between indoor and outdoor. The entire script is centered around this indoor-outdoor game. Okay. Now the issue is the feedback that again we are getting. Our reporters are on the field. We are talking to policemen. Many of them in confidence speak to us. So we know the situation. So the feedback that we are getting is that many of these places that are blatantly outdoor are applying to have parties that are indoor. They are putting up temporary sheds or shacks, or I mean not shacks, temporary sheds and structures to make it seem as if it's indoor. Permission is given because it's indoor. And in that particular area which is supposed to be indoor, not a soul is there. Everything happens outside. Now, my point is this kind of a feedback that we are getting, do you feel there's any truth to this?
What I have seen as a resident of ANJUNA,
Yeah.
I have not seen any places that have got indoor. Maybe a room which they call indoor, but nothing is happening, as you say. And the music they play, I don't think that the music they play and the drugs that they can have it indoor. It's the atmosphere outside that is going with the music and the drugs. Indoor parties is not possible.
Have you had this indoor-outdoor conflict ever? When somebody says we are indoor, then does the police or anybody go to check whether it's really indoor?
I haven't. Yes.
Well,
Now you go for a wedding, you will see the police at 10:30 there. Without anybody complaining.
That's true.
Yeah.
Go on wedding, you had a point.
yeah, I wanted to just say, like, talk about indoor and outdoor. Like, you're talking about places where they've built the establishment and these venues on CRZ zone.
Right.
NDZ, NDZ zones, okay, and all these places where you're not supposed to be having. So to have indoor, you have to have a proper structure
Correct.
where the sound cannot travel out.
Right.
Okay, that is first thing.
What do you call soundproof? Which
Yeah,
indoors
exactly.
have.
Correct.
Exactly, soundproof.
Correct.
Okay, so these structures are now on CRZ zones. How can you allow them to do that?
Right.
You know, destroy nature.
Correct.
So that is another thing. And then if you want to have license, I mean the monitoring system, you have to ensure that the establishment is only legal first.
That's true.
And thirdly also, the EVMs could be hacked. Why not these systems?
No, as he was saying.
Yes, so
that-
why not?
That you need to look at the systems completely.
Definitely.
Correct.
No, but it's not only the indoor and outdoor, I keep on saying. If the intake is not there, no use of the indoor outdoor.
Correct.
The whole thing is stuck there.
That's true. That's true.
Without
One
the
point.
drug, nobody wants to hear that music.
Okay.
Nobody
Before
wants. It's
before
true.
we kind of wrap
Very
up,
true.
there is one aspect.
You go there, you go mad, man, if you go and I go there.
Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to
Yeah,
pull up
I-
some more. Yeah, come on. You had
Yeah, actually it has to be loop, wherein the license for the sound, it has to be loop with the whether the structure is legal or not.
Yeah.
It has to be loop.
Most
the
of the
TCP
structures are
department.
illegal.
Illegal.
So the one cannot get the license for the sound for
Even
illegal structures.
polices, when we had told them, you need to go and confiscate their amplifiers, their sound system, they give us excuses. They don't do
Earlier
their
they
parts.
would
Earlier, I
confiscate,
even,
now
even yes.
No, it's
Yeah.
not happening. As you
No, it's
mentioned.
not happening. I even
Now
told the
that you
PI.
are not there,
We
please
did
come
it.
on more openly.
PI also, I had told the same
Okay,
thing.
I'd just like to, before we wrap up and talk about solutions and what we need to do, I can't resist sharing some of these advertisements. One is-
You are very taken up with them.
no, I'm taken up because I'm taken up out of absolute shock as to how blatant
Blatant,
and blasé
yeah.
you can
yes.
be.
Yes.
Yes.
And the
Right.
point is, when you mention this, now I must also share one more anecdote. We sent all these posters to the collector North Goa, Dr. Geete. Before we sent it, we said, "Look, all this is happening. Are you aware?" She says, "No, we are not aware. If somebody brings it to our notice, we will see."
We will look into it.
No, it is
Very
all
sad.
over social media. We are aware of it. The media is aware of it. There are people who are aware of it. Tickets are being sold because of this. I mean, in the sense that it is blatant. Why does the collector need the media to send these posters? Doesn't the collector and the government of Goa have a mechanism to monitor this?
Exactly.
The collector should be fed by the crime branch to say that this is happening.
Correct.
Isn't it their job? They should be
And,
going after this.
and what is even more shocking is that they are using a very auspicious event like our Independence Day,
Day.
using that long weekend to do everything which actually goes against our very constitution in the system. You are using the Independence Day to actually violate constitution and laws. You have parties which are advertised as independence. If independence is broken, the word independence is broken into INDEPEN dash dance.
Dance, correct.
15, 16, 17, 18 August, and you have DJs like Alexa, Beauty, Sanyas and Monkey Space. Who are these people? And have they come here? Do they have work permits?
What are they?
On what basis? You have another thing called Satellite Beachside, 15 to 18th August. You have different VJs called Calm Chore, Blotty, Brown Coat. What is all this? And are they, do we know who they are? What is their background? Whether they are bringing in drugs or not? How do we know this? Okay. Then a pre-independence bash, you have all these Russian DJs mentioned. Now these are posters that are floating around not only here. Today our senior reporter was there and he reports back, and we got pictures of all these fresh posters coming up today. All over the places, on the roads. So the collector
Openly.
doesn't see all this.
The law
The SP
enforcing
doesn't see all
agencies,
this.
Yes.
the law
They
enforcing
don't visit the
agencies have
sites.
collapsed.
Plus
They
other
don't want to work
Correct.
because they are getting their taxes. Why they are interested in the GST?
Mr.
they are
Sinha,
not interested in
unfortunately,
it.
your tribe has not been seen in a very good light, depending based on what we've seen. It's very unfortunate. It's a degradation of the uniform
Yeah.
force in a manner which is absolutely shocking. And why just the uniform force? I would say the entire authority.
Entire. I'm not
Okay.
blaming
In
one.
the last round, before we wrap up, let us try and look at solutions if solutions can be
Yes,
looked at.
of course.
Of course, going to court, crusading, getting orders from the court is a good democratic way. We have been doing it. But apart from
Can
that,
I interrupt?
Sure, sure. I mean,
Now
I
that
wanna
matter
compliment
is
you.
in the court only.
yes,
These contempt proceedings, if they are done with speedily,
yes,
will definitely have a result.
okay,
That is the justice system.
Because-
It is very delayed.
yes.
correct.
And if the court is really sincere, they should speed it up.
Absolutely correct.
The other thing, this ticket sales of tickets for these shows. If the Department of GST and all goes after them,
That is a very important suggestion. Correct. You should stop the ticket sales.
yes,
Because recently a criminal complaint has been made on the sale of
they
tickets.
can
of
go
cinema.
after that.
Yes, correct.
and that also will result in curbing those shows.
Correct. These are good suggestions. Okay, we'll go this way then, since
Yes.
you started. Cyril, now the issue is right now going to the court is obviously a channel open, and all of you all have been litigants. Each one of you here have been litigants, and you've done it. Apart from that, what else can be done at the ground level? How can you put pressure on the Gram Panchayat, the Sarpanch, Panchas, local MLAs to see that, look, this kind of interference will no longer be tolerated?
I feel the only best solution, talking about control board, talking about the police, talking about all that is all a waste of time. What is the home department doing? Who's in charge of the home department? Is the CM. What is he doing? He's
Right.
the one man who can control all this and put everything at a standstill. Why not? He can interfere and close everything. Didn't Parika do it in the past? He did it. Why can't Mr. Sawant do it? And we hope that he interferes.
So what you're saying is it should start from the top. If
It
there's
should
a
start from
political
the
will
top.
to stop it, it can be stopped.
It can be stopped.
Without any
Definitely.
irrespective of who the local MLA, local minister is.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, as I said, the giving the license to the entities, it has to be checked with whether the structure is the illegal or legal.
Right.
That is the one point.
Right.
Secondly, the local panchayat,
Right.
the local body has to be involved. They should give the powers and the handheld instrumentations.
That is not being given at all.
Not
Correct.
given.
Correct.
And the committee which has been selected, he should be provided with the noise monitoring instrument. And thirdly, there should be a patrolling continuously on the coastal line, not when the emergency numbers are dialed. There should be a continuous look on these entities.
Basically, don't wait for the complaint to come to
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
Be proactive.
Exactly.
Right.
Basically, 3 to 4 months, there's a rush into the season. So they can provide the continuous patrolling of the police.
Rajan, I know you'll come up with good suggestions, but I'm just trying to kind of provoke another point. Is that, look, all these suggestions are absolutely well-meaning, but as even Cyril said, that until and unless there is a political will to do this, nothing ever is going to happen. And do you think both the ruling party and the opposition especially has played a responsible role in doing this? Because how many discussions have we had on this, either in the assembly or outside? So my point is that, has the political class played its role in a proper responsible manner?
See, the political class does not fall from heaven. Let us accept this position. It is one amongst us. The best cook gets elected.
Right.
The question I am trying to make is that the people mentality here is Maza Faido Kide. So when you are talking that we are going to agitate and say that people are not going to vote you, all those people are with the MLA there locally. They are getting their share in different ways. So, as Bose said just now, he also, in a way, has questioned the role of the judiciary. That if they are sincere, then things should work on a fast-track basis. If you allow adjournment for the sake of adjournments and taking the contempt petition for another 1 year, and where somebody else will come and some petition will be made, and then some leniency is granted, that it should not happen this time. It will not happen.
But having said that, while I take your point, but having said that, if you see the observations and the orders made by the
Sir, observation without action has no
even
meaning.
directions have been given.
But who is implementing it? That is not coming into force. That is where I bring the
For
entire
implementation to come, that contempt petition should be speedily disposed of.
And taken suo moto also. rather than-
taken with strict action.
Yes.
So that
Where
with
people
strict
land in
action.
jail as well.
So
Right,
that everybody knows that contempt petition means something serious. Today I have never seen a contempt petition where action has been taken.
In Karnataka, there was a contempt petition where the chief secretary was sent to jail.
That's right. I'm
Yeah.
aware of this, yes.
So similarly, it should happen here.
Correct. Now, okay. Now, as we end this, we are a few hours away from a very good people's agitation or candlelit vigil, which is going to be made, and people are going to surround the police station. Of course, people's action should happen on the
follow.
ground.
Yes.
Now, according to you, what else can we do, or can people do to see that at least that belt is cleansed of this, because it's a very uphill battle that you all are fighting.
Yes. So there is one concern that we had when we were doing this, you know, opposing all the noise pollution. People were like saying, "Why are you stopping our business?" Okay, which I understand.
Locals were saying this.
Yeah, some of the locals were telling us, "Why are you stopping
You're
our
dividing
business?" Yeah. So we are like, you know, we don't want to stop your business. We're fine. As long as you keep the sound in your own vicinity, we are fine. But my suggestion would be, why do we have to have only all these bang bang? Why can't we have family oriented themes?
Correct.
There are families coming from Indian tourists, foreigners. They would like to spend, and they're coming for the nature, for the beach. So why should they only stick, you know, to all these noise pollution, unless what he is making the correct point, the drug is the whole
culture
We
is
are
drugs.
addicted
The
to that
culture is
scenario.
Correct.
yeah.
That 200
It's the
rupees and
connection.
300 rupees running is not enough, because this is going in thousands and in lakhs
Thousands.
Correct.
and in crores.
Crores.
And again, as you have seen the PI statement for Asagaon, if it is happening there, it is not happening. Michael Lobo is on record to say that the top police officials have given the names. What happened? He raised a Parigar stop. Parigar didn't stop anything. I'll show you the noting. I've got a noting just now over here of Parigar.
What does it say? What does it say?
I'll show you. He says,
Always good to go back to notings.
you yourself read it.
No, read it. It's your. You
Sunburn has been big headache due to complaints of drugs. That's when I had taken it up. Smoking, traffic jams, and allegations of kickbacks. Force free tickets. Unless these issues are sorted out, all such festivals needs a relook. May discuss for clarity. This was done 12/9/2014.
This is an extremely important notification.
Okay.
Yes.
Now this happened in September 14. In December, he granted a permission. There was understand one more thing. There was one more this that came in 2019 under Parigar again. Time out. You recollect?
Correct. I remember that festival.
Okay. You know what happened there? They took 3 checks. I filed a PR there also. They took checks in advance, post-dated checks after the function.
After the function.
That will be cashed after the function. And when they encashed it, it bounced. I went in PIL. Then they filed criminal proceedings.
Right.
And managed to get it. So this is happening. What Parigar, that also is during Parigar's time. This is again Parigar's noting, not my noting. In 14.
Okay, we've unfortunately run out of time, but I'll just sum this whole discussion up. See, Leo Tolstoy had once said that when you feel pain, you are alive. But when you feel the pain of others, you are a human being. And I think at the end of the day, we need to figure out whether the pain of others have been felt by the authorities and the system. The answer is obviously a big no in the light of what we've seen.
Consciousness is dead, I'm saying.
So at the end of the day, pain has to be felt for her, for her son. Pain has to be felt of...
To us about her son, basically.
Yes, of course.
She is having a son problem. We should feel it.
Right.
And understand the seriousness.
Absolutely.
Right from the top.
Absolutely.
True, yeah.
Pain has to be felt of the people who've died because they've not got rest. Pain has to be felt of people who've actually had to leave jobs because they were unable to function.
I mean,
in that
imagine
kind of
infants here.
Yes.
Normal infants. How can
So
it
the idea is that we need to figure out that at the end of the day, day-to-day lives of normal people, Goans, who are living in those areas, have to also kind of live a normal, peaceful, decent life without this atrocity of sound and loud pollution, which is happening with the brazenness and the illegality, which is absolutely shocking. It almost looks like, or it clearly looks like rather, even the court has said this, that the rule of law has completely collapsed. The Republic of Anjuna and Vagator function as an absolutely a banana republic which follows no laws and no regulations. It almost seemed that it is an outlaw and the state has no power over these areas.
True.
This is the reality that we face, and as Independence Day comes and you have parties being advertised as independent dance and you have foreign DJs coming in, we are not aware of how permissions have been given for these kind of parties to happen, whether the permissions have been given with any application of mind or not, even if they have been given. And we all have a very clear situation where the High Court itself has said that the Goa Pollution Control Board, the police and the civic authorities are just going on passing the buck only to ensure, it seems, that this whole system of greed and trance music and all that comes with it carries on without any objection whatsoever. However, we have many crusaders, many of whom who are there. We have a senior police officer retired who did his own bit during his time. I think we must all need to put all their points and their thoughts and feelings into a cauldron, look at these suggestions, and more importantly, impose and make it absolutely mandatory for the political class to see and feel the pain of the people if they want to consider themselves as human beings apart from everything else. I thank all the panelists here for coming, giving their valuable time and the suggestions, and making this debate enriching. I hope this conversation continues till we see the light of day and we see some silence in that terrible, terrible zone of Anjuna, Vagator and the rest. Thank you.